Hello, welcome to the people them. Happy Friday. Happy Black Friday. My name is Yolanda, and you are watching Flash Black Friday, where every Friday I will flash black to a black person who has made a difference in the community that is, what? Black. So today, I decided to talk about a man who goes by the name of Henry Brown. Have you heard of him? If you haven't, it's okay, because I'm gonna tell you who he is. I'm gonna tell you his story. Henry Box Brown, the man who shipped himself to freedom. What? So Henry Brown was born in 1816, and he was born on a plantation farm in Louisa County, Virginia. Now, his mother would instill Christian values from a very young age. But at the age of 15, he was sent out to work in a tobacco factory in Richmond. At the age of 22, Brown would end up marrying a woman who goes by the name of Nancy. Now, she was a slave on the plantation farm just adjacent to his farm. Yes. Their marriage was not legally recognized, probably because, back in them days, it was just like, you mine, I'm yours. And that's how it's gonna work. But together they had 3 children. Now, eventually, Brown was hired on to this tobacco farm, and he was bought out by his boss. Now, he would work full-time at this tobacco factory in Richmond. Remember, I said that? He worked in Richmond. So eventually, he would rent out a house because he got a wife and 3 kids. They gotta stay somewhere. So he rented out a house for his wife and his 3 children. Yes, he did. He did that. So Brown decided that he was going to pay off his wife's owner to not sell his wife or the children. But guess what? This is real life, okay? So dude took the money and then eventually sold the wife and children. I'm sure he took as much as he could get and then sold the wife and children. Jerk. So in 1848, his wife became pregnant with their 4th child. Damn. And then he heard about his wife being sold to a farmer in North Carolina. He was like, didn't I pay you though? What's going on here? I swear I paid you to not go and sell my wife and children. But it happened. So he helplessly watched as his wife, his pregnant wife, I'm going to emphasize on that, and his 3 children were marched off with another 350 slaves in chains, never to see them again. So with no freedom, and he was living a hard life, Mr. Brown said, you know what? Cut it. I'm done. I ain't doing this no more. I'm leaving, and there's nothing you could do about it. So he devised a plan. So he devised a plan to cut, to leave, to go AWOL, to get out of there. He didn't want to be there anymore, duh. With the help of a man named James Smith and another man who goes by the name of Samuel Smith, of no relation, because James Smith was a free black man and Samuel Smith was a white man. They came up with a plan to ship him off to a free state, okay? He didn't want to be there anymore. So he was meant to be shipped out by the Adams Express Company. Yes, they were going to ship him out, but they had no idea what they were doing. Now, the Adams Express Company was known for their privacy, for their confidentiality, and their efficiency. Brown paid about $86 US, which would be about $2,700 today, to get shipped off. Yes. Samuel Smith, the white man, went to Philadelphia to consult with the other members of Pennsylvania Anti-Slavery Society. Yes, he did that. He went there to try to figure out how they could successfully ship this man to a free state undetected. So when he went there, he met with a James Miller McKim, a William Still, and a man named Cyrus Burleigh. I like his name. They advised him to mail the box to the office of Passmore Williams, who was also a member of this vigilante committee. Now Brown is like, all right, all of it is set in motion, but I need to get the day off of work, right? Because you can't just not show up to work. So he said, dang, let me see what I can do. And he came up with a plan. So what he did was he burned his hand with sulfuric acid right to the bone. Now, I've done some pretty crazy things to get out of work, you know, calling sick, made up some excuses, which I'm sure we all have, but I'm sure a lot of us have not burned our hand with sulfuric acid. Ouch. Then he got in a box 3 feet long, nearly 3 feet deep, and 2 feet wide. And this box was labeled dry goods. Now in this box Henry Brown traveled in was lined with baize, which was a coarse woolen cloth. And he had 1 bottle of water and a few biscuits. Damn. Of course, naturally, there was a hole cut in the box for air. Otherwise, he couldn't breathe. Duh. So there was a hole cut in the box for air so he could breathe. And then it was nailed down and closed with straps. Now, I don't know. Is that something you could do? Would you be able to get in a box that's going to be nailed shut and strapped? I mean, I guess some things, you know, a desperate cry for help, you know, if you're really desperate enough to get out of there, absolutely, I'm sure. I don't know. Brown later wrote that this method was worth the risk. And he said, and I quote, "If you have never been deprived of your liberty, as I was, you cannot realize the power of that hope of freedom, which was to me indeed an anchor to the soul, both sure and steadfast." Now during this trip, which started March 29, 1849, now this box was transported first by the wagon, then the railroad, then the steamboat, then the wagon again, then back onto the railroad, then the ferry, and then the railroad again. And then finally, he jumped into the delivery wagon. Well, he didn't jump, the box went in there. It was placed in there, making this a 27-hour trip. Now, of course, we already know how these people, I'm sure if you have ever ordered something, I'm sure you see that people don't just place the box right side up. They was tossing it, they was turning it, they was flipping it, you know, all of this stuff. Like, it was not an easy trip. He didn't just sit in the box and be like, this is cozy. Yeah, he was upside down sometimes. Damn. Now, despite the box saying, handle with care, this side up, the people didn't listen. Of course, the delivery people were just like, yo, I'm just doing my job. Not sufficiently, but I'm just doing it. So, of course, several times they placed it upside down, right side up, side left, XYZ, all of the places where it wasn't supposed to be. But there was a few times where it was placed right side up. So Brown had to remain as still as possible to make sure that he was not detected. Duh. Henry Brown wrote in his book, and I quote, "To conquer or die, I felt my eyes swelling as if they could burst from their sockets, and the veins on my temple were dreadfully distained with the pressure of blood upon my head." Damn, I could feel it already. Have you ever did a handstand or tried to hold yourself up for a very, very long time like that? Yeah, I'm pretty sure it felt a little something like that. Now, the box was received by Williamson, McKim, William Still, and obviously, you know, the other members of the vigilante committee on March 30th, so the day after, 1849. And it was reported that his first words when he hopped out of the box was not like, for me it would probably be, "I gotta pee," or something like that. But his words was, "How do you do, gentlemen?" And then he recited a song that he pre-planned that he was gonna sing if he did get the chance to get to freedom. And he sang the song from Psalms. I'm not gonna sing it because, like, my voice is just too nice. He chose those to celebrate his freedom. Duh. Now, The role of the government and the private express mail is very central to the story, okay? The records suggest that Brown's audience, they celebrated this victory, of course, because it was successful when he arrived. The success was like official. This was considered a modern postal miracle. MPM. Now, the government's postal service drastically increased on communication, but despite the Southern's effort to control the abolitionist literature, as well as letters and other materials that reached the South. Now, Frederick Douglass heard of this story after reading about it in the North Star. He said that as long as federal and state government respected the privacy of the mails, everyone and anyone could mail letters and packages, and almost anything could be inside of it. The power of prepaid postage was widely admired by the middle class and commercial-minded people in the North. However, in the South, which was mostly a slave-holding place, they dreaded this. They were like, Wait, how you gonna say that everybody and anybody can just go ship off whatever they want? That means that my slave people, they're gonna try to ship themselves off too? The South was like, There needs to be some regulations up in this. Brown's escape pretty much highlighted the power of the mailing system. Yes, it did. And that used a variety of modes of transportation connected to the East Coast. Now, the Adams Express Company, founded in 1840, basically marketed its confidentiality and efficiency. You know, of course, they were trying to get business. Duh. It was favored by abolitionist organizations with their promise to never, ever look inside of the packages. Which, you know what, I'm trying to think, like, what if somebody was ordering some pretty, like, things that other people didn't want to see, or they didn't want other people to see? You mean to tell me y'all was just looking inside people's packages? I mean, I can understand the store, but like, you the delivery man looking inside people's packages and stuff, like, some people is freaks out here. Frederick Douglass made it pretty damn clear. He was like, Brown's escape should not be made public because, of course, there's other people that could utilize this same method. However, of course, naturally, other people were like, why are we going to keep this a secret? This is going to help our movement. This is just too good of a story to keep behind closed doors. No, let's tell everybody about it, which I think is, like, not smart at all, because you should have a plan B. If you already started a movement, there's plenty of material there to continue the movement. You did not need this story to block others from trying to use the same method. So Brown was labeled and nicknamed Box. So then he started to utilize the name Henry Box Brown. Now, I don't know if, I mean, like, you know what, I know one person that was nicknamed Box, but like, why Box? Like, why not Tin? I'm just joking. That wasn't funny. Now, Samuel decided that, you know what, this work did was successful. He got his little money from Brown as well. So he's like, you know what, I could probably make some money off of this. So I'm going to do it again and again and again until he got caught. Yes. He got caught in November of that same year. So he was sentenced to 6.5 years in the state penitentiary. Now, James Smith, who is a black man, he got caught as well, except he got a little bit more of a fair trial, which I'm like, how? Because, I mean, back in those days, of course, we already know that, like, white people get away with bloody murder, but how did Samuel get 6.5 years and Mr. James didn't? So, after Brown was all safe and whatnot, he got contacted by his wife's new owner, the one in North Carolina. Yeah. He contacted him and said, hey, Mr. Brown, I got your wife and your 4 children, all right? And I'm willing to sell them back to you. How you like them apples? And naturally, most people would be like, I'm free. Of course, I just want my family. But Mr. Brown, nah. He was like, nah. This man didn't even, I don't even know if he respectfully declined, but my dude said, I'm free. I'm going to start everything all over. Why do people do that? Like, you can't just forget your life. You can't forget your wife and children. I bet you his wife up in heaven right now, I'd be beating that ass. Bad. Of course, this was an embarrassment to the abolition community. And of course, they, like most mainstream media stories, they try to keep it under the covers. They tried to sweep it under the rug. They tried to keep it private. Brown was like drowning in intoxication of this freedom. He was like, yeah, I'm free. Probably singing that song that he decided that he was going to write when he first gained freedom. His personality couldn't allow him to be quiet about his story. He just reminded me of a Toronto dude. Like, yo, fam, so here what happened? Yo, you didn't hear, fam? Man, them got out of the box. Man, them shipped themselves to freedom. And we're all here. Yo, dog. Did you hear? Man, them shipped themselves to freedom. I'm just guessing that's how it was. So Mr. Brown became a working man, working honestly and freely, while his family was not. He used this experience, this story, to make and create a new life for himself. However, in the 1850s, the new fugitive slave law was passed. Yes, it was. And this required the cooperation of law enforcement to go and capture those runaway slaves, even if they were in a free state. Now he was in a free state, so he got nervous, he got scared. He didn't want to be recaptured. I mean, he didn't want to be captured like his wife and children were. Mr. Brown. So he moved to England for safety. So he toured around Britain. He performed several hundred times a year. Obviously he needed to make a living. Now that he was not working as a free man, he needed to make some money because now he's in England. Then he joined the British show circuits, and he began to speak out about the slavery, being enslaved. And then he was expressing his feelings about the state of America. I wonder if he mentioned stuff about his family. Then, that's when he offered a cure for slavery. Okay, hear this. He said, ding, I got an idea. This is what we can do for slavery. Slaves should be given the vote to be able to vote for the president. Yes, we need a new president. Is somebody gonna tell him? I guess nobody told him. Don't matter who's in power. I mean, we seeing that every day. I wish he knew. Sorry, Mr. Brown. I'm sorry. But you know what? Despite everything, all was not well for Mr. Brown. No, it wasn't. It wasn't. Because while he was performing at these show circuits, everybody was like, hello, sir. Are you not going to purchase your wife and your children? And he was tired of hearing about, you're not purchasing your wife and children. Are you not going to purchase your wife and children? He was tired of it. He was like, okay, this is too much. Y'all are too fast. Okay? No, I am not going to purchase my wife and my children. I'm not going to do it. Sounds like a lot of dudes out there. So he left the circuit completely. He said, peace out. I'm cutting. I'm leaving. I'm gone AWOL. I mean, he was pretty good at running, right? He decided to be an actor, which was a very short-lived acting career that he had. And then he became a magician, performing acts under the name Professor H. Box Brown. I bet you if I was his wife or one of his children seeing a pamphlet like, oh, come see Professor H. Box Brown, I'm gonna come with a box for sure. Yes, I'm coming with a box. No, I'm joking. I wouldn't do that. And he made sure that he was like, okay, I'm famous for this box, so I'm taking it on tour with me, and I'm gonna climb into this original box and show the people them how I came out of the box. While in England, Mr. Box Brown remarried a woman by the name of Jane Floyd, a white Cornish tin worker's daughter. And about the 1850s, he created a new family. Honestly, I'm still trying to figure out, like, if he told his new wife that story, because I'm a female and you's a dude and you ain't checking for your children and you ain't even checking for your wife, then I ain't checking for you in no way, shape, or form. None. So I don't know how some women can do that. Like, you're weird. You're weird as hell. If you're one of those women, I'm telling you right now, you're weird. Eventually, in 1875, his wife and his children, they all moved back to the U.S. And he still didn't go for his kids? I'm wondering that. Not, you don't even have to go for the wife, but like for your kids. They probably like, you know, like, fam. Henry Box Brown was a man who took the courage and combined it with creativity. Henry Box Brown. He very quickly learned that in order to survive in the free world, he had to reinvent himself. He realized that courage is not always given to you. By an act of faith, he said that the higher power, God, gave him that creative idea to hop into the box and seek freedom. And he stated, and I quote, "That same man continues to command me now as a free man to do the impossible." Yeah, the impossible, like going to get your wife and kids, or just your kids. Clearly that's impossible because you never did it. Henry Box Brown died in Toronto, June 15th, 1897. Now, I want your opinion. I already know most of you are gonna say, yes, dude should have went back and got his wife and his children. But do you think there was a threat? Do you think that he was to trade his life for the wife and children? And if that was the case, do you think it was right for him to run either way? Do you think that there's a bigger picture behind why he didn't get them? Do you think they heard his story? Do you think they heard of his freedom? I want your thoughts and your opinions in the comments below, because I would love to know what you guys think about this story, and especially about how he carried himself throughout this scenario. And that is the story of Henry Box Brown. If you haven't gotten it by now, the moral of this story is that when you really want something, you're gonna go get it. When it comes to freedom, a lot of people will risk their lives. They will do some very crazy things. What is the craziest thing you would do for your freedom? Leave it in the comment section below. All right? Thank you guys so much for watching yet another Friday. And remember, well, you can't really see it, but have enough courage to start and enough heart to finish. Yes. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. And if you haven't already, make sure you like and subscribe so that you can get notified every Friday when I upload. Yes. Okay? Make sure you learn something new when? Every day. Yes. Thank you.